Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports.
Cardinals Corner from Arizona Sports with Tyler Drake and Lauren Koval.
What's going on, Bird Gang? Welcome back for another edition of Cardinals Corner, fresh off of OTAs. We're back. What's going on, Lauren? How we been?
We're doing well. We're prepping for minicamp.
Yes.
Already there.
Yes, we've got the voluntary work out of the way, and now it's time to get mandatory. But before we get all the way mandatory, let's just recap a little bit of what we saw at OTAs, some of the big standouts, some of the big things we heard from the people talking at the press conferences that I was sitting in all week. Not all week, but I should say the last 2 weeks. A lot of audio, a lot of good audio, I should say, too. So definitely go check that out, arizonasports.com. And let's
a lot of trash talk.
Let's start there.
Okay.
Let's just start there.
Yeah.
So offensive continuity with the Cardinals. I think a lot of people decided or talked about how there wasn't a lot of moves made this offseason on that side of the ball. Defense, not the case. That was absolutely go. Just go. I think that was the term that Monty used. Just go. I'm just kidding. I'm using that. But looking at the offense, a lot of just running it back, largely running it back. Obviously, Will Hernandez is not currently on the team. I would I would hope that maybe he makes a return at some point because I think he would help out. But also Isaiah Adams seems like he might be the guy to watch there starting opposite of Evan Brown. But looking at trash talk, continuity, it's one thing that it's definitely building up. Nick Rawls talked a lot about how Trey McBride, Greg Dortch, they love to go back and forth with the defensive coordinator who likes to go back and forth with the wide receivers and tight end. Also mentioned Marvin doesn't say much. He just makes good plays.
Yes. Yeah. Which is exactly what we think he's
it's
only
like,
proven over and over
he's just
again.
Like, I got you. But I almost think that means more when you don't say anything. You just go out there and catch it and you're quiet.
Yeah, it's like a humble brag happening out on the field.
So that is definitely a benefit. And then what Trey McBride said about adding some extra sauce to the whole scheme, system, whatever you want to say. And I think we've seen it. I just did a story actually on arizonasports.com kind of going into the motion numbers that we've seen over the years through the passing game and how they've slightly ticked up since Drew Petzing's gotten to town. It very much seems like it's going to keep going in that direction. Obviously, I think there were like 264, 265 plays in pre-snap motion plays last year. After like 226 or right around that number the year before. I don't think it's going to be some wild, crazy number like the Miami Dolphins, who's like 446 pre-snap motion plays on passing downs this last year, which it's going to happen. It's Mike McDaniel. He loves doing that. I think that's why the Niners had did it for so long with him there. And while they continue to do it too, they're another team, the Rams as well, just that tree. But
a lot of guys in your division.
Yes. Yeah, that's the big thing. But yeah, looking at the trash talk and then you see the sauce. So maybe this opens up some more windows for Trey McBride to find the end zone that much more. But at the end of the day, not adding these pieces, maybe that just means, hey, we're going to implement some of these guys that have been around that know the system like the back of their hand, but put them in different ways to succeed. And from what everything Trey's talked about, that's very much what's on the plate heading into this year.
And that's the expectation now with the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, you've got on the other side of the ball, you've got Zaven coming out during it talking about, we trash talk. I trash talk. I yell back. I've been here for a while and I feel like I can do it. They even asked him, do you remember being out here for OTAs as a rookie, what you were feeling? And he was like, no, I was so excited, but I was so overwhelmed that you have no idea what's going on. So him basically helping those rookies sort of feel more comfortable in that OTA format because, yes, they've brought in a lot of people on the defense. It's kind of the opposite from what we've seen on the offense. A lot of continuity on that side of the ball, a lot of excitement with these pre-motion plays and just how are they going to develop on that side of the ball. Yes, a bunch of people came in on the defense. Yes, they built around their defense this offseason, but it's a bunch of guys who don't know each other. Yeah. It's a bunch of guys where you're trying to figure out where do you work and how do you jive in this role and where can we see you? There's also a lot of question marks about, which I'm looking forward to with mandatory minicamp, is where are you taking your drills from? Where are you first team? Are you second team? Are you switching between the two? Is there somebody that we get to look at with a Rawlis or a Petzing or even JG where it's like, we haven't really had our eye on that person, but they're running with the first team, so maybe we should change our minds.
Yeah, and I think that's, a good point for sure, especially when you see everybody back. because that's the other thing. Voluntary, there hasn't been I don't want to say a ton of guys, but there's been a group of players that haven't been there. Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson. We did see Kelvin Beachum come back this last week for voluntary work, so that was good on him. Another name that we didn't see the first week that was back the second week, Walter Nolan III. Asked Jonathan Gannon about it. JG said it was neither contract or injury related, so that's about as far as he went. Said neither, and moved on. Back out there practicing though, so that's what you want to see out of your rookie. Get to know the ins and outs. I said it the other day on the radio. It's like knowing your school, like the new school you're going to. You've got to know, okay, I've got to get in line here to do this. I've got to go over here. There's a cafeteria. There's history class. There's you gotta know your way around the building a little more, especially when you're on field doing drills. So good to see him come back. Anybody really stand out that wasn't there outside of Walter?
No.
I guess he is back. But
he's back, but wasn't originally
any
there.
Absences?
No, because I think the absences are what we expected. It's a collection of older guys. It's a collection of veterans. Now that Nolan's returned, and also nobody where I'm going, I need to see what you can bring to the field.
There was one name that I was a little interesting.
Yeah.
Keem Davis-Gaither. Mm-hmm. Because that inside linebackers room, outside of Mac Wilson Sr., there's some reps to be had there.
And JG had said that he knew he was going to be a no-show.
Yep.
He had the list. He knew who wasn't coming and that he wasn't concerned.
For the battle, though, I think Cody Simon's got his work cut out for him.
Yep.
But, I don't know, when I look at that and I see him, Keem Davis-Gaither, I'll throw Owen Papo in there too. Those are the three that stand out as the guys who could be, I don't want to say taking the reps that Mac Wilson had last year next to Kaiser because it might be totally different, but those available reps there for sure. I just think it's going to come down to those three. So anytime you can get on the field, I think the bet is valuable.
It's for the better.
All right, so let's keep on the rookies because yes, Walter Nolan wasn't there for the open portion of the one day that we got to be out there the first week. Let me specify that too. He was off to the side working out. Second week was there. Regardless of what he's been doing on the field, Nick Rawlis has been jacked, I think, with what this guy is bringing to the table. Says you can tell he is studying very hard, takes coaching really well, very coachable. Darius Robinson talked about how he brought Epsom salt for the whole team, or I think at least the defensive line room. So the high character issues, or the low character issues, I think can be kind of pushed to the side right now. See how he continues to come up the ranks. But all signs point to what were we even thinking about, considering that there could be a character issue right now.
And we were sitting here just a week ago going, well, he hasn't showed up.
We'll have to see.
And what do we think about that? And there's a new trend in the NFL of kind of holding out to wait to see what you can get. Is he going to do it? No. And he's not going to be like that. And so I'm happy to see that how we've discussed over the past few years, the Cardinals just becoming more and more of this high character team, a little bit more of that camaraderie vibe that Jonathan Gannon loves to talk about so much is actually happening on the field, especially with these rookies, and that we know somebody like Nolan who had issues, and it was rumored that part of the reason he started to slide in the draft was because of those character issues, and he didn't have great interviews. And draft night, Monty and JG put that to rest. They were like, push that out of your mind. Be done with that. And then I think those thoughts sort of crept into the back of everybody's heads again following what happened last week. And now it's just, okay, it's before the season. It's before mandatory mini camp.
He was still there.
He's still there. He's just not running how we want him to.
Well, and I think the other part of that, the character issue part of that, it kind of went out of my brain after I heard what he did with Will Johnson.
Yeah.
About calling him, calming him down a little bit, saying, hey, we're going to go take this team, take this league by storm. That's another guy we got to talk about because Will Johnson's turning heads already too, which I think a lot of people expected. As long as he can stay on the field, that's what's going to happen. Nick Rawlis, three things: work ethic, talent, intelligence. Really easy. It just came right off the top of his head. It didn't have to think about it. He said it's phenomenal to work with him, and it's just he's checking all the boxes. Veteran, Sean Murphy-Bunting being done for the year. I just exactly what you want to hear out of this young cornerbacks room.
And that's why you go out and draft a guy like this, is because you need the new, not leader of this room, but you need another voice. You need another body. You need somebody else who can just be out there on the field for you consistently. And that's what you hope Will Johnson can be for you. Once he started to slide in the draft, I think that was mainly at this point injury concerns with him, what's going to happen there. Well, now the Cardinals at this point have their own injury concerns with Sean Murphy-Bunting. So you turn around and go, great, Will Johnson's here.
Yep.
Slide on in.
Yep.
Make this work.
Yep.
Also, he's the type of corner that we haven't necessarily had here where he comes from the Big Ten. He can keep up with those. Like, I feel like Max, yes, he's from the Big Ten, but he plays sort of a different spot on the field than you see Will Johnson do. Will Johnson's like, fine, you want to run past me? Let's go. And let's run down the sidelines and see if you can do it.
Yeah.
Max is a little bit more like, I almost think of it like hand-to-hand combat, like in the short field. Like, don't get past me. I'm not going to let us break down the field. Where Will's like, no, fine, challenge me.
Yeah.
Like, let's see how that goes. So I think it'll be interesting once the season starts and even once we get into training camp where Will's matched up against his old buddy Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, those are going to be so fun to watch.
Oh, God, that's
So
going to be
fun to watch.
good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Little Michigan-Ohio State rematch right there.
Oh, yeah. I'm just excited to see them, like, sit and talk about each other. Because they've already done it, but they've done it in a very informal setting. And I'm excited to see, like, okay, hey, like, us down at training.
What do you really think of him now at the NFL?
Yeah.
That kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, or, like, us down at training camp if one of them, like, busts it.
Yep.
You know, does Marvin Harrison Jr. have a great catch over Will Johnson? Does Will Johnson
I think
have
they're
an
gonna go
interception
back
on him?
and forth.
Oh, I imagine.
Yep.
And it'll be great to sit down in that media room and be like, hey, okay, that play, what do we think of that now?
Oh, yeah. They're going to be so... Whoever loses that round the day before is going to be so eager to get it back the next day. It's going to make for standing room only watching.
And knowing JG, he's going to provoke it.
Those two first. Every time.
Yeah,
Yep. Oh,
come on.
That's great. Well, another person was actually at Cardinals OTAs that I didn't expect to see. Arizona State head coach Kenny Dillingham. Again, he's been making some rounds at Cardinals HQ lately.
He's been making the
Love to see
rounds
it.
with all the Arizona teams.
True,
I mean,
true.
he's popping into the locker room during D-backs games. He's out there at spring training saying hi to everybody. So he's very much taking his ties to the community and bringing things really local and saying, yes, hey, ASU football had a phenomenal season last year. Was anybody expecting them to be as good as they were? I think it's fair to say no.
No.
And now it's Kenny Dillingham's sort of like media press junket of, hey, let's, as Arizona teams, really forge this camaraderie.
And he's already talked about taking stuff from being at Cardinals and learning from some of the coaches. I think some of the defensive stuff, what they do with safeties, I think he's kind of gleaned some of that. So, yeah, always good, especially I think with the current trajectory of where these football teams are. I think these guys, I know the Diamondbacks have turned things around now, but, I mean, a week ago, I think we were saying, hey, it's Cardinals and ASU as kind of the anchors for Arizona sports at this point. And I know it sounds crazy to say a little bit, but and I know the Cardinals have to win some things. They've got to get to the playoffs. They got to be that anchor, but we can already see ASU is from last year. But I think Cardinals are on that trajectory. I mean, the Suns, they're going through a full front office change, so that you don't expect success right away.
No.
So I think it was very cool to see kind of the meeting of the Valley minds right there.
Yes.
Because you know that they both just talked ball the whole time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
To hear that conversation would have been great.
Oh, talking to both of them is like having a conversation with somebody who's like screaming at you about something they love so much because it's just constantly coming at you. Like you find yourself taking a breath, even though you're not the one talking because it doesn't matter. But that's what you want to see from these guys. I think it's the expectations game that we love to talk about so much with all of our Valley teams is just what do you think this team can do this year? Will they meet them? Will they exceed them? Will they be fine? And now I think the expectations game is fully on these two teams.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Moving into mandatory. Minicamp work. What are the things that are standing out that you want to see or that you're just looking for?
Yeah. I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I think it's where are these rookies taking their snaps at? Are we up with the first team? Are we up with the second team? My eye goes to Cody Simon. Where
100%.
are you taking your snaps? Who are we running up against? How physically competitive is he? Ready to go? Because I've talked to him before. We had him on Burns and Gambo, and then we also got to speak to him right after he was drafted, and he is football IQ off the charts.
Jordan Hicks
it's incredible when you sit down and this guy can it's almost like a Sean McVay level of no, I can't recall exactly that play, but I can tell you where things went wrong in that play.
Yep.
And he knows on the field where he's oh, that play is going to break down because of that, which is exciting to see in a rookie because I want to know where are they pushing him towards? Where are we taking our snaps? Could it be another rookie who works his way up in week 7? Are we sitting here going, starter Cody Simon?
Week 1.
Week 1. I mean, week 1, that's an expectation. I just almost don't want to put that on the rookies. Hey, get out there and make this happen. But it could be week 1. Another thing that I'm looking at is Isaiah Adams. How is he doing taking those first team snaps? Does he really seem confident in that role? Does he seem confident in his position on the line? We saw a lot of switcheroos and sort of some plug and plays over the last few years up there. And now him being the rookie last year, having a little bit more under his belt. What are you doing this year with the experience you had last year?
Yep. I like that. I think both of those are great points. Cody Simon for sure. If we can see any of the team parts of practice, where exactly is he going to be lining up right away? How much is he getting the play calling duties?
Yes.
Does he get him right away? Is what I want to see that more cerebral, more. I know physically, I think he's got it. What's he going to be doing mentally that we can see, that we can gather from minicamp? That's going to be my big thing.
And somebody who stood out to me on that note about the mentality and thinking through everything is Jalen Thompson. When he spoke, it was a different Jalen than I'd heard before, and in a way where I went, okay, I've perked up almost. I'm let's hear what he really has to say. And about I know Wolf and Luke asked him specifically, do you think this room is the toughest room? And he goes, no, but I think we're the toughest room on each other.
Yeah.
I think that we challenge each other the most out of any room here for the Cardinals. And that made me go, okay, let's see it. Let's see that challenge. Let's see that mentality. Because I feel like that almost slips by the wayside because we feel confident in it.
Yeah.
We're okay, we don't have to. It's like how we talked about Paris Johnson Jr. last year. If we're not talking about him, you're having a good year.
Yep.
If we're bringing you up, that's cause for
problem.
concern.
Yep.
How many times did we mention Jalen Thompson last year? I mean, maybe I can count it on 2 hands.
I think more so of, is Rabbit taking his job sooner than later? I think that was more of the conversation than what is Jalen doing. I mean, I think last year was one of more of his, I don't want to say lesser years, but he's had
middle
better
of the
years.
pack.
Yes. So I think that's a lot of people started looking, okay, is the heir apparent there with Rabbit? What's going on there? But yeah, Jalen, I think, is an underrated voice in that locker room for sure. For me, I'm looking at, obviously, yes, Isaiah Adams in that guard spot. I think it's his to lose. So is he there the whole time with the ones? That's the first thing there with me. Then looking at it, Xavier Weaver. I'm looking at wide receiver because after what we heard JG said, last week, 2 weeks ago now?
Yep.
You don't mention a guy, I feel like, without him showing you something. I just don't think JG's like that. I know he's not like that. He's not a guy who, hey, give me 5 of your guys you like. No, he usually doesn't go down that route. The fact that he names Tip, Xavier, who else was it? I'm trying to think. Another second-year guy.
Isaiah?
Might have been Isaiah. But yeah, just the fact that he got included in there, I want to see what he's got. And how much of a jump did you take?
Yeah, and JG doesn't mention guys to motivate them. He's not that kind of coach who comes out to the podium and is like, "Hey, I'm going to name drop you because I need more from you." He's name dropping them because that's what he actually saw out on the field. A new level of talent, a new level of momentum, a new level of sort of this push and shove. I'm ready to make an appearance.
Yes. All right. We cannot leave this podcast today without wrapping it up on a fan favorite, personal favorite, Dennis Gardeck has signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So Dennis Gardeck, thank you for all the times talking with me and everybody else in the locker room and giving us your insight. Awesome. Really great to work with you. Got to see him kind of come up through the ranks, joining on when I did. So the dude was about ball and about his team, and that's about all you want out of your football players. So congrats to him. Hopefully he gets it done in Jacksonville.
Truly, he's a guy I'm going to root for just because of his journey to the NFL and what he actually did for the Cardinals. I mean, what was it, 3 years ago, him putting together that incredible first half of the season where it's like, wow, this is the breakout year for that guy. He really battled through some injuries, including last year, that I think just put kind of a sour note on the end of his career. But a fan favorite for everybody, a fan favorite for those covering him. He kind of felt like one of those guys where if you need something, you can just go up and ask him.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't care. He's happy to talk to you. So wishing him the best of luck in Jacksonville.
Just an overall good dude. Tristan Colon also going to the Lions, so good luck to him as well.
With Ragnar retiring.
Yes. Some changing of the guard there.
That was a shocker.
Oh,
29 years old, and I'm done.
When you know, you know.
Yeah.
And when I know the podcast is over, I know. So we'll be back next week. Might have a special one coming your way, so be sure to keep it locked here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. As always, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Follow me at TDrake for Sports. You can follow Lauren at Colville_Lauren. Follow the show at AZ Cards Corner. We've got a full week of mandatory minicamp next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday we'll be out there. We'll be sure to bring you the latest as it comes for the Arizona Cardinals. And yes, you can hear it on 98.7, ArizonaSports.com, Arizona Sports app, all the good things. And until then, we'll see you next week.